Hey, this is Pamela Riemenschneider. I'm the retail editor for Blue Book Services, and this is the Produce Reporter Week in Review. We had a lot of exciting stuff this week. Um, we had Bolthouse just kind of slyly, sliding over the desk with two new companies. They're splitting the commodity business from the juice business, and couple of new CEOs for each of those. One of them is a Dole guy, one of them is a Heinz guy. I mean, lots of stuff with Bolthouse.
Oh yeah.
This is a pretty interesting move for Bolthouse, but I did have an off the record conversation recently with someone who said that it was a move the company is making to separate the commodity carrot business from uh, the juice business, and it could have something to do with PACA, and being something that if it's juice and carrots on the same order, is it not part of the Perishable Agricultural Commodities Act? That's interesting. Kind of makes
I don't
sense.
know that that's a fact, but
I
if
do
that's
not know that
the
that's a
case,
fact.
that makes a lot of sense to separate that because the PACA protection is so important.
Yeah, especially in a business like carrots. I mean, carrots in California have a lot of funny business going on right now with water and social media and lawsuits. We've had an article about what's going on with that stuff as well.
Not of
So there,
your own doing. It's
no,
coming from the outside. Yeah.
yeah, it's coming from the outside, and some disputes over who owns what water to grow such carrots with. So if you want to deep dive into that, you can just go take a dive onto TikTok as well, because there's a lot of people talking about it over there. We're just gonna leave it at that for now. Just knowing that there are two new CEOs for the two companies, because Bolthouse did buy Evolution Fresh, the one that you can buy at Starbucks. So that's a pretty interesting move for them. And just
So what else have you been doing this week?
well, I had a really, really interesting opportunity to travel to San Francisco to get some questions answered and to solve some mysteries. One of the biggest mysteries in for us in our business has been what is going on at Grub Market. Um, I mean, we started paying attention to them in 2019, somewhere around that. And you had a chat with CEO Mike Shu back in what, 2021, 2022, when we just started to see the company start acquiring a whole lot of produce companies. And I had the opportunity to collaborate with my friends over at Fresh Cred podcast. That's Craig Slate and Ed Bertod, and interview Mike and Craig and talk really candidly about where he came from and what is his connection to the produce industry, and how many produce companies have they acquired over the last couple of years. The number may surprise you because it did surprise me.
Even though we've reported it, right? Or is it
Even
different?
we've reported a fraction of them.
Okay.
We reported the ones that have been news releases. It is a staggering number, and you're gonna have to tune into the podcast, which is scheduled to run early next week, and then we're going to link out to it, of course, and host it from since it is collaboration with the Produce Reporter. We'll have some coverage from it next week, but super fascinating stuff. You talked to Mike before. What was your impression of him when you talked to him before?
He he's a I don't I like almost like a cartoon character, eccentric genius to me. That's the way it came across to me. But I didn't meet him in person. It was just by video. I've never actually met him in person. I have done a video interview. I've talked to him on the phone. He is extremely sharp, but it sounds like sitting in the room with him like you did, you get a lot better impression than I have.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong. He does really interesting things. His connection to produce is from growing up in a farming community in rural China, and he ended up studying in Wisconsin and actually leased land from the university to grow his own vegetables while he was in school, studying his master's degree. And he started Grub Market as a online grocery And he still goes to the warehouse in the evenings, or actually at night, and packs orders. I mean, so many really interesting things came out of this interview, and I'm super excited to be able to share it with you guys. So stay tuned for that. We'll have some coverage next week, and then the full interview should be out there on those channels when we get around to it, hopefully early in the week. That's what I've been told, but you know how these things happen in the media. Sometimes it's not right immediately when you think it's going to be.
I'm optimistic and I'm looking forward to listening to it myself. Well, they Grub Market is involved in AI, and we ran that a couple weeks ago, and then we had another story this week about C.H. Robinson getting bigger into AI. I thought that was very interesting, and I think I think now we're starting to see real life examples of how companies are starting to use AI to improve business operations.
Yeah, that's C.H. Robinson's is an automated AI program that will send freight quotes, like respond to emails about freight quotes automatically, which I think is a really smart move because I can't even like they say okay, it says on an average business day they receive more than 11,000 emails from customers and carriers requesting pricing on truckload freight. And it sounds like this is a place where automation and artificial intelligence can drastically improve the process of work. Grub Markets, Grub Assist, they were explaining to me one of the things that it can do is it can take voicemails and write the orders from the voicemails. And I can only imagine like companies that take orders via voicemail still, um, that has got to be the worst job in the world, picking up the phone and listening to the voicemails and transcribing those orders. So if that person can move on to something a little more interesting, I even wait for my phone to transcribe the voicemail before I'll read it. Like, hang up and text me, man.
Yes.
So to see some of the AI stuff get implemented and not just these pie in the sky ideas, I think is really exciting. But it's also really, concerning because this is great, this is functional, this is process. But what did you hear about some of the AI stuff at Consumer Connection?
Well, there was a session on AI at both Consumer Connection and the retail conference, and I have not had a chance to write that up, but I will next week. And they there was a group of marketers at Consumer Connection that talked about using AI in brainstorming processes, not delegating brainstorming to AI, but you letting it assist in the process and then taking it from there. And it was just something like that that seemed very realistic and easy to implement. And then in the retail conference, there was a buyer with Gelson's who explained how they use drones in their warehouse that are AI enabled, fly autonomously, obviously, and they're constantly monitoring inventory in real time and then transmitting that back to the buyers and the order takers in procurement. And so they have a better idea at their DC of what they have and not just periodic checks or, an old school system of seeing what we have at the end of the day. And those are just two examples. I have several more and I will get those out, but I am excited to see how AI is creeping in and taking some of the tasks that are not fun. I mean, they're not so little fun that it's transcribing voicemails, but there are other tasks. And I hope everyone in the industry starts to think about, now, how could I use that in what I do? Now, in our business, we have to be extremely careful with AI because it's extremely prone to plagiarism.
Yes, yes. And it is making me think of some of the horror stories that we've seen and some of the thing not necessarily horror stories, but fake content. So AI to help you improve your processes and to streamline things and to do tedious tasks all sounds great. As long as we're not dipping our toes into the content generation where we're going to get, you know, like recipes that don't make any sense, and with photos with chickens with 6 legs and things like that. I've seen a lot of really alarming uh posts and stories and things like that about um, how it's taking over search engine optimization results. So when you Google something or go on to Bing or something like that and you ask for an artichoke recipe, for example, now it is some kind of AI generated listicle that comes from, you know, some big media company that just wants to get the affiliate link stuff out of it instead of someone like ocean mist artichokes should be one of the top search engine results for artichoke recipe, for example, in the produce industry. I can see how this might affect website traffic, especially for some of these marketers and brands, if the AI generated stuff takes over instead of stuff that is relevance and merit based. This could be a really huge problem for a lot of people's revenue streams and for their traffic streams, for their marketing to consumer efforts. And it could affect how we're trying to drive consumption. I can see some areas where we should be really paying a lot of attention to this.
Well, that's just our industry. I mean, there are concerns in every industry. I mean, fake fake videos and audio clips are already coming out, and that it's something that the powers that be will definitely have to take more seriously as it gets better.
Yeah, I mean, it can be super serious. It can be unserious, like fake hairstyles that are not physically possible. That's already happening. So as we look into AI, we have to make sure that we're using a measured approach and not just like jumping in, in the deep end and celebrating all the things that we don't have to do anymore. But definitely transcribing voicemail orders is one that I think no one's going to miss.
No, every technology involves trial and error, and as long as the errors aren't devastating and drastic, we can make changes and move on.
Well, as we wrap it up for this week, Greg, are you one of the 78% of consumers that has a plan for Mother's Day um,
Of
to
course, I have
celebrate?
I have a mother, and I live with the mother of my children, so I'm definitely invested. And we don't really cover floral, but that's I avoid Valentine's Day floral because it's a scam holiday, but Mother's Day is a real holiday. So I'll bite it and get some flowers, and half our plate will be fruits and vegetables, and I think there might be some steak involved. How about yours?
Mine is probably going to be 2 to 3 soccer games.
On
So
Mother's Day, we don't play on Mother's Day here.
it's the Mother's Day weekend tournament. What better way to celebrate Mother's Day than being a soccer mom, which is one of my favorite moms.
Yeah, well,
So
sit on some hot AstroTurf and enjoy your Sunday.
yeah. Maybe I'll get it. Maybe it'll be the one that's got the mango cups and the fruit truck. Hopefully we'll get something like that. All right, well that's it for the Produce Reporter Week in Review. If you are not getting the Produce Reporter newsletter, you need to go to producebluebook.com and sign up.